Hello, wrestling world. This is Backstage Slam Reports, giving you the latest stories and surprises from WWE. Hit subscribe, and let's go. A heavy silence has settled over the Karaoke family, a dynasty that once ruled the world of professional wrestling with pride, unity, and unshakable charisma. For decades, their name meant strength, generations of champions who carried their heritage with fire and dignity. But now that fire flickers low, the man who once stood at the center of it all, the leader, the icon, the symbol of their lineage, lies surrounded by quiet beeps and whispered prayers. What began as rumor and speculation has become an unbearable truth. The family that once filled arenas with chants and cheers now gathers in hospital hallways, their hearts breaking under the weight of helplessness. The dynasty that taught the world how to fight is learning how to wait, how to hope, and how to hold on. The whispers that became truth. In the beginning, it sounded like just another story angle. A missing appearance here, a canceled event there. Fans joked online, assuming a new twist was coming, a dramatic reveal being saved for the next big show. But the tone changed quickly. The absence stretched longer. The usual bravado from the family faded into uneasy quiet. Then came the confirmations, hesitant at first, from voices cracking under pressure. Something was wrong. Behind the scenes, phone calls flew between family members, and the private world of the Karaokas began to close ranks. It was no longer a storyline. The cameras were gone. What remained was a family trying to navigate fear while the world watched from afar. The night they gathered. When the family assembled, it wasn't for celebration, but for solace. One by one, they entered the hospital room, wrestlers, elders, cousins, all bound by the same blood and legacy. There were no stage lights, no ring ropes, no audience. Just the sterile hum of machines and the collective sound of hearts breaking. The patriarch sat quietly in the corner, clutching an old photograph of the boy who had once played at being a champion long before he became one. The younger generation stood in silence, realizing for the first time that even their heroes were human, and that strength sometimes means surrendering control. In that small room, legacy and love intertwined, heavier than any championship belt. The private struggle. No one saw later, whispers turned into confessions. Those who worked closest to him admitted they'd noticed small changes, fatigue, skipped meetings, brief flashes of pain that he brushed off with a smile. "I'm fine," he'd say. And everyone believed him because they wanted to. The culture of toughness had been built into his DNA. Showing weakness was never an option. Yet beneath the surface, exhaustion and pressure had taken their toll. This wasn't about negligence or fame. It was about a man who had spent his entire life being told to keep going, to be the face of strength, to lead by example, even when that example came at the cost of his own peace. The world reacts. When the news broke, the reaction was instant and overwhelming. The wrestling world, usually divided by promotions and rivalries, came together as one. Messages poured in from every corner of the globe. Athletes, commentators, and lifelong fans sharing stories of inspiration and gratitude. Outside arenas, strangers stood shoulder to shoulder holding candles and signs that read, "Stay strong, Chief." Online, millions offered prayers, drawings, and letters. For once, the noise of the internet became a collective heartbeat. A reminder that beyond the staged conflicts and personas, there was real humanity connecting performer and fan. The industry pauses. Behind the scenes, the industry that had long thrived on constant motion did something rare. It stopped. Creative teams rewrote scripts. Production schedules were delayed. Main events were canceled. Wrestlers, producers, and staff sat together in stunned silence. The energy that had always driven the show, the adrenaline, the rivalry, the applause, now felt hollow. For once, everyone seemed to agree that no storyline, no championship, no ratings boost mattered compared to one man's health and the family fighting beside him. The pause wasn't just professional, it was spiritual, a moment of collective reflection about priorities and humanity. The blame and the questions. As the days passed, grief began to share space with self-examination. People inside and outside the industry asked difficult questions. How could this happen? Could anyone have done more? Was the culture of toughness, the expectation to always perform, always show up, partly to blame? These weren't accusations but expressions of guilt, love, and reflection. Everyone wanted to find meaning in the pain, to ensure that the next generation of performers would not have to carry the same unseen burdens. The tragedy had become a mirror, forcing the industry to look at itself with newfound humility and honesty. The quiet acts of support. Amid the noise of headlines and speculation, there were moments of quiet kindness that rarely make the news. Fellow wrestlers arrived at the hospital unannounced and with home-cooked food for the family. Long-retired legends called late at night just to say, "We're here." A few close friends pooled resources to ensure the younger children had counselors and emotional support. No fanfare, no publicity, just people helping people. Even rivals who had once traded insults in the ring sent flowers and prayers. Those gestures became the invisible backbone of the family's endurance, proof that compassion could bridge any rivalry. The family's reckoning. As days turned into weeks, the family began to face a deeper truth: that their silence, their shared stoicism, had been both a shield and a prison. For generations they had been taught that strength meant enduring alone. Now they were learning that real courage sometimes means speaking up, admitting fear, and asking for help. The family elders, their voices shaking with age and emotion, vowed that this would be the legacy moving forward. Not just physical strength or championship gold, but emotional honesty and care. Whether or not their beloved son recovered, that promise would stand as a tribute to everything he had built. Ritual, memory, and the long road ahead. In the weeks that followed, the rituals continued. Vigils outside arenas, songs sung in the village, fans sharing artwork, stories, and prayers. Each act of remembrance was also an act of healing, proof that even in uncertainty, love endures. The family began to speak softly of the future, of how to honor the legacy without letting grief consume them. They found strength in storytelling, in laughter returning little by little, and in the realization that legacy isn't about an immortality. It's about the love you leave behind. The road ahead would be long, but they would walk it together, one step, one prayer, one day at a time. Closing. What lives after the spotlight? When the cheers fade and the lights dim, what remains are the people, the family who waits, the friends who care, and the fans who remember. The karaoke story, once told through championships and triumphs, has become a story of compassion and humanity. If there is a lesson in their pain, it is this: greatness is not measured by power or performance, but by the ability to love, forgive, and endure. The wrestling ring may one day roar again, but the echo that truly matters is the quiet vow spoken by those who loved him most: to protect, to cherish, and to ensure that no one else has to suffer in silence. In that promise, the legacy of the dynasty lives